Let the harvest begin.
High school. It's supposed to be the time of your life.
How does she do that, James?
But for Louise Miller, high school was a living hell. From her first secret love
I could just die.
to her first blind date.
Nobody wants to date you because you're a dog. A dog! A dog!
I'm David, Miranda's cousin. Ready?
My life is a walking, talking tragedy.
Give me some soul kisses, baby.
I wish you would just leave me alone!
But just when nothing more could possibly go wrong,
It's you. You're one of us. Me? A witch?
something wonderful went right. Now she's possessed with special powers.
You can make anything happen. Break a leg, Kiki!
That are simply bewitching. She can make her worst teacher hot.
I will never be hit.
And her best friend cool.
Stop that. I don't really give a about trying to stop that.
Stop that!
Big deal.
Stop that!
Unreal.
You can try to, you blue.
I will make a fool of you. Stop that.
I want to be the most popular girl. You have the power to make anything you want happen. Can I make him love me? Love you? With me being your coach, he's gonna become your love slave.
Everybody dreams, but Louise's dreams all come true.
Astroth, Barbas, Tetragrammaton, Theos, Ishnos, Arthetos. What? It's a new U2 song.
Teen Witch. Winning is a magical feeling.
Same again, never gonna be the same again. Never gonna be the same again. We are gonna talk about this soundtrack in just a second. You guys, welcome back to the Gory Gays, the horror podcast where two boyfriends normally slash up and bleed out your favorite horror movies, mostly but not limited to the black sheep, underrated, and forgotten gems of the genre. I am Stanley. And today we are going to talk about Teen Witch. I can't say it any more bluntly than that. I don't know why it has taken me this long to bring this movie to your attention. And real quick, if you haven't seen Teen Witch, where have you been? You've been under a rock. You have been hiding. You have been somewhere that is not planet Earth, because this movie has been on 31 Nights of Halloween. It has been on the Disney Channel somehow. I don't know how it's been on the Disney Channel, because there is some pretty interesting racy content that's it's questionable. And to say that this is probably the gayest movie that has ever been printed onto celluloid, that's quite an understatement, but we will get there. But it's quite fitting for Pride Month. This is literally a pride movie with the biggest pride flag waving proudly and brightly in front of themselves. So I'm going to stop all of you. If you have never seen this movie before, watch it first before sitting down and enjoying it with me. Or you know what, maybe not. Maybe this is a great time to watch it for the first time, is watching it with me, because I've seen it 1 million times. This is definitely in my top 5 as far as movies go, and I don't remember my life before this movie. It's been a constant in my life, and I don't remember the first time I saw it necessarily, but I know that it was just constantly playing at my grandma Millie's house growing up. I think I probably saw it between the ages of 3 and 5. I mean, it came out in 1989. We'll get into the logistics and stuff here in just a few moments. But I know it was on a VHS tape. It was recorded onto a VHS tape, mishmashed in between a couple of other films. I remember it being recorded off of HBO because I remember the HBO logo, one of those old school logos, and the the noises that adjoined with it. And I remember the PG-13 logo, and I remember why it was rated PG-13, you know, because you got like the warnings that came with it. I remember that. And then I remember taking the VHS home with me because I just wore it out and I just watched it all the time. And I was obsessed with the soundtrack. I loved these songs so much. And I reenacted these musical numbers. And let's be clear. This is literally a musical, and it's not because these musical numbers don't necessarily fit into the movie because I don't think it was meant to be a musical, but it's a musical, and it doesn't work, but it works, and it's so magical and wrong and wonderful and inappropriate because the rap numbers are just so silly and outrageous, and they're not in the right movie, but they're just so perfect, and everything about this movie is perfect. And I don't want to call it a bad movie because I don't think it's bad, but it's misunderstood. I think when it first came out, it was not I guess it was not well received. It got really low ratings. We'll get to that in a moment as well. I have always just had this big soft spot for it ever since I was a kid, and I've just had this really long journey with it, and we can just talk about that now. So I always had that VHS copy that I stole from my grandma Millie, and then they had broadcasted it on cable like throughout its entire longevity. So it came out in 1989, and they would broadcast it on the Disney Channel with certain scenes either severely edited or completely deleted. There is a lengthy, basically sex scene that they either chop it up or completely remove it for Disney or like the ABC Family airings that they do during Halloween. And then I got like this really cheap DVD that they released back in the early 2000s where they put Robin Lively's like older face on her young teenage body, and she's like on a broomstick, and let's be clear, she never rides a broom. And like the way they practice witchcraft in this movie is kind of peculiar as well, but again, we'll talk about it. And then I had a VHS copy of this movie that I got from my friend Ryan Coe, one of my very best friends in the entire world, who I actually introduced this movie to. I had got it from him, and then I gave it back to him. I don't know what had happened necessarily, but I gave it back to him because I didn't have a VCR or something, and I had written my initials on it. I thought that he was going to keep it forever or something. And I remember moving in with him. Like I had left LA and moved in with him. And I went to this pawn shop across the street from the apartment we were sharing. And I found the VHS at the pawn shop. And I was like, oh, weird, Teen Witch on VHS. And I slid it out of the VHS cover, and it was the same one that I had given him. So I made sure to get that back in my possession. And eventually a Blu-ray would come out, and it has all these special features on it. And I just watched that this morning to watch the interviews and stuff with the cast. And that's really entertaining. And the people who are in the movie really have a soft spot for it and care about it a lot now. But going back to that VHS, there was a screening for the movie back in 2000, and I want to say it was 2017. And Robin Lively and Mandy Ingber, who play Louise and Polly respectively, they attended the screening. It was a double feature for this and The Craft, and it was outdoor. It was in downtown Los Angeles at a park. I had messaged Robin Lively randomly on Instagram, and I had said, hey, if I see you at the screening, I'm gonna have this VHS, and it would mean the world to me if you took a picture with me. And she had wrote back, and she said, if I see you, I would love to take a picture. And you guys, I saw her at the screening, and she straight up knew who I was, took a picture with me, was so sweet, and it was like one of the happiest moments of my life. And I'll share the picture when I share this Patreon episode. I also met Mandy Ingber as well. She was in this like crazy onesie, and I'll share that picture too. And ever since then, every time I comment on something of Robin Lively's Instagram post, or if I share something, she's always so grateful. and she always will comment back. Or if I share something Twin Peaks oriented, she will comment on it. She's just one of the sweetest people in the world. So I will forever support Robin Lively and her work. And she's just so adorable. And I've been a fan of hers ever since this movie. And this movie has just always screamed like like not just like girl power type of stuff, but like gay power, because it's just so gay. You know what I mean? Like, we'll call it like we see it. There is so much gay in this movie. And once we all press play together, we'll just start calling out the gay as it comes along. And I don't know if we enjoyed like the little makeshift smoking / drinking game that we all did during Pumpkinhead 2, but we can maybe do something like that together for this when we start watching it. But yeah, I just love this movie so much. And the music just is so fun and boppy and catchy. There's a lot of like Tiffany / Debbie Gibson inspired tunes here. All the music was specifically written for the film by Larry Weir. They had like their family members sing the songs and their friends sing the songs for the film. I don't know, like there's just something really weird, something really weird and kooky about it that just makes it so fun and so amazing and so worthy of repeat viewings. And there's a reason that there is the cult movie. You know what I mean? There's reasons that there are midnight showings of movies like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And yeah, I'm going to put this movie on the same pedestal as the Rocky Horror Picture Show because I've seen that movie 1,001 times too. I've seen Showgirls 1,001 times as well. This movie is on the same tier as those movies. It's so quotable and it's so insane. Again, it's just so perfect to me. So before I get repetitive and start talking about all the same things over and over again and about how much I love this, let's just get into The People Under the Stairs.
The People Under the Stairs.
All right, so Teen Witch is a 1989 teen fantasy, comedy, musical, gay, romance, every genre mixed together film, directed by Dorian Walker. And as far as I know, he also directed something called An Outpost of Progress. Apparently, it's an adaptation of a classic by Joseph Conrad that explores universal themes that deal with individual morality and the responsibility of civilization. It's a drama adventure movie. Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about that. Also, he directed The Greatest Adventure of My Life. That came out in 2002. He wrote that as well. But I couldn't tell you about that either. He doesn't have a very, very big... He doesn't have a lot of credits. I think that Teen Witch is probably his best credit to his name. Yeah, so that is directed by Dorian Walker, written by Robin Minkin and Vernon Zimmerman. We got two writers. Vernon Zimmerman passed away just a couple of years ago, actually. And aside from this, previous to this, he had written movies such as Fade to Black, which is a pretty decent horror film, actually, starring Dennis Christopher and Eve Brent and Linda Carriage. And it also has Mickey Rourke and Peter Horton. Mickey Rourke is Academy Award nominee. Also, crazy performance in the movie Spun. Peter Horton is from Children of the Corn. That's a really interesting film about a guy who is obsessed with like old horror films and movie makeup and stuff. So I suggest that movie. It used to be available on Shudder. I don't know if it is anymore. It's fun that he went from that to this. Very different. Night and day. This movie stars Robin Lively as our titular teen witch Louise Miller, Zelda Rubinstein as Madame Serena. You would recognize Zelda Rubinstein as Tangina from the Poltergeist movies, and she's been in many other things, but I knew her from a Tales from the Crypt episode where she had a daughter character running around killing people, and she was wearing a mask. The daughter character was wearing a mask, and that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. Really freaked me out. But she was also in this movie called Little Witches in like 96 or 97. And it was like a blatant ripoff of The Craft. But she is perfect here. Perfect here. Dan, I always thought it was Gauthier, but I think it's Gautier as Brad Powell, Hottie McHot. This is, again, the gayest movie in the world. And this is probably why. We're going to just say Brad Powell is probably the reason a lot of young, early 90s kids realized they were gay. For me, it was Adrian's Med in Grease 2, and then Brad Powell. Joshua Miller as Richie Miller. Dick Sargent as Frank Miller. Marsha Wallace as Miss Edith Malloy. Fun fact, she does like half the voices on The Simpsons, or did half the voices. Karen Kay as Margaret Miller. And you guys, I'm going to interrupt myself. Karen Kay was the reason I decided to do this episode in the first place. She was one of the actors in Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings. She played Jenny's mom. And I had no idea, watching Pumpkinhead 2 all these years, that she was the mom here as well. So there's that. She plays Margaret Miller. Shelley Berman plays Mr. Weaver. Mandy Ingber plays Polly Goldenberg. Apparently she plays Polly, quote, Hats, unquote, Goldenberg. Maybe they call her, quote, Hats, unquote, because she wears a hat all the time. But I never hear them call her Hats once in this film. Noah Blake plays Rhett Capoletti. Yes, he is Robert Blake's son. Lisa Fuller plays Randa. Tina Marie Caspary plays Sean. Megan Gallivan plays Kiki. And then Cindy Valentine is Shanna, who is the Paula Abdul / Debbie Gibson / Tiffany creation. She's the pop star in the movie. And up until a couple of days ago, I also thought she was the one who sings like every single song in this movie. But alas, Alex was the one who corrected me. Laurie Russo is the one who sings the opening title song to Never Gonna Be the Same Again. And I guess Cindy Valentine does a cover of it throughout the movie. But you guys, let's talk about Robin Lively real quick. She is the Teen Witch. Her sister is Blake Lively, but I don't give a fuck about that. She's married to Bart Johnson, who is the coach / father of the High School Musical movies. And she was like the it girl of the 80s. I used to confuse her with Tammy Aaron from Pippi Longstocking, but they are not the same girl. But yeah, she played Jessica Andrews in The Karate Kid Part 3, and then she would come back and play Jessica Andrews in the 5th season of Cobra Kai. She was nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award in an ABC After School special in 1991. She would go on to appear in Twin Peaks, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. And she was also in just like a slew of movies in the 80s. She was in, what was it? Not That Human? I think it was called Not That Human. Not Quite Human. Excuse me. She was in Not Quite Human. She was in Wildcats. She was in a television movie called Summer of Spoons. For a while, I thought she just disappeared. And then, you know, she just showed back up. She ended up coming back in the movie Ouija in 2014, playing Mrs. Gilardi. And then she had popped up in a movie called Letters to God. And I actually watched it for her. And she's like a really good dramatic actress. Like, I didn't expect her to be as good as she is. She was in a movie called Through the Glass Darkly. So good in that as well. And then just last year, she was in a movie called Ganymede. Speaking of gay pride, she plays a character called Floy Fletcher. We're going to have to cover this movie on the other feed, on the regular feed eventually, because I have to get Alex to watch this movie. And you guys need to watch this movie as well. This movie is so good, you guys. It is about a young gay boy in the closet who's like on the wrestling team. And he kind of befriends another gay boy who's not in the closet. And his mom, who Robin Lively plays, had a brother who was very gay and ended up committing suicide. And it's very complicated. And she kind of plays like a Margaret White character of sorts. And it's very enthralling. And there's like a lot of dark humor. And it's very touching. And it's very scary. There's a lot of like scary elements to it, and I really recommend it. And it's a very, very good performance from her in it, and I just had to really nail that in. So it's really cool that she kept acting and that she is still doing really good stuff. I mean, like, she does a lot of television. She's currently doing stuff like Landman and Lioness, you know. So, oh my God, the fact that she's still working and she started here is really, really cool to me. Yeah. So the movie is edited by Natan Zahavi, and I dig the editing. It's very MTV. It's very in the times. I had done a couple music videos this last year. Alex and I kind of just got creative together, and I had recorded music way back in the day, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, and one recently over the last year. And for some reason, as I was editing them together, Teen Witch came to mind, and I actually let the editing of this movie influence the way that I edited those music videos. So thanks, Natan Zahavi. And the fact that he has a Wikipedia is mind-blowing to me. What else has he done? What else has he done? He currently resides in Tel Aviv. But it doesn't really look like he's done very much. This has nothing to do with his editing. It's all just very much about the fact that after his death, he wants to have his body cremated, and he wants his ashes preserved in a jar of honey. Okay. Awesome. Well done, sir. You edited the shit out of this movie. So the music is one of the highlights of the movie, if not the reason to watch the movie. Composed by Larry Weir. In 1975, the Weir family created the Weirs. Weirz. This is all 9 of the siblings: Maria, Estelle, Tom, Pixie, Kathy, Teresa, Mike, and Joan. And we're headed by Larry, who is 23. And then the youngest of them is Joan. Stop it. Don't even start, Sheriff. Sorry, Sheriff wants to join. The youngest of them is Joan, and she is 11. And they decide to start a band, and ultimately this deduces to just a few of them, and they end up producing and performing a few songs that end up on the Teen Witch soundtrack. And we got bangers, guys. We have bangers. Titles such as All Washed Up. We also have Finest Hour, which is performed by Cindy Valentine as well. We got I Like Boys, Popular Girl. We have Shame. We also have, I don't know if they're responsible for Top That, but I mean, this one says it's the Michael Terry Rappers. We also have Kathy Carr, who is on the song listings. So I don't know if she is one of them. Let me see if she is one of the Weirs. If she is one of the Weirs, then I think that la 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 la. Kathy Weir. Okay, yeah. That's nuts, you guys. Okay. Where was I going with this? That's the music. The music is nuts. The music is a big benefiting factor. As crazy and chaotic as this soundtrack is, it's a big reason to watch this movie, and I can't wait for the music to come because I'm probably going to be singing along with it. Transworld Entertainment is the production company. I think we went defunct a very long time ago. Yeah, we were founded in 83 and then went defunct in 1993. So we were only around for about 10 years. I don't think we had a lot of hits. I mean, we had Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We have an episode on that, guys. That was our second episode. So go listen to that. This is fun, though, because I thought about creating like a little idea here about how every film that we talk about sort of goes back to Pet Sematary. And that was before I even decided to talk about Teen Witch. The last time we sat through Pumpkinhead 2 together, there was a lot of Pet Sematary talk. And The Eyes of My Mother, I think I even mentioned Pet Sematary. But in this episode specifically, this movie was released on April 23rd, 1989. Now, with that being said, the movies that were box office competition that weekend were Field of Dreams, with Kevin Costner and Pet Sematary. Both of those films were released on April 21st, 1989, 2 days before Teen Witch was released.
Sell the stand! Sell the stand! Sell the stand!
I'm just saying. Everything goes back to Pet Sematary. Now, I don't know why they thought it would be a good idea to release any film in any capacity or any circumference with two movies like that. You have a Stephen King vehicle and a Kevin Costner vehicle. And I had also said that I didn't really want to discuss any box office stuff, but on a budget of $2.5 million, I should say that Teen Witch only made $27,843 in its entire run. So it was not successful. But I don't think people were expecting what they got. You know what I mean? It was definitely panned by critics, and people were expecting probably a Teen Wolf, because that's what this movie was supposed to be. Teen Wolf was successful, and then Teen Witch was supposed to be like a sex comedy in the vein of Porky's and movies like that, and that's not what happened. That is not what happened at all. So it ended up getting reworked, and the raunchy aspects got completely removed. Instead, they added these crazy asinine musical sequences. The producers, they had connections to people in the music industry, and they met with songwriters, and instead of having the cliche sexual aspects to the movie, they decided to go with that instead, because things were changing and we were going into the 90s and the MTV stuff was really popping. And they even went as far as bringing in a dancer from the original West Side Story to choreograph these dance scenes. And speaking of Debbie Gibson, I earlier mentioned how Cindy Valentine was kind of like a concoction of Tiffany and Debbie Gibson and Paula Abdul and all these singers from the 80s. Debbie Gibson was actually the original choice for the role of Louise, but that obviously never happened. Some fun facts, according to Wikipedia, it was shot over the winter break of 1988 over at Herbert Hoover High School in Glendale, and real students were used as extras. We should also note that the love scene and the rap battle sequence between Noah Blake and Mandy Ingber, those were scenes that were added. This isn't a traditional witchcraft movie, you guys. It's so interesting in the sense of like the spells that this girl casts on people are not your traditional spells. Like, we're not getting like revenge on people. Like, we're not casting like spells of girls like being ugly. Like, this is not like a horror film by any means. And that's why I wanted to cover this. I wanted to cover something lighthearted and fun. And I kind of wanted to sing along with something silly. And I just wanted to reminisce about something like just kind of innocent from my childhood for once. And I just thought that this was the perfect gay thing to do that to, you know? As far as critical response goes, this movie has a 43% on Rotten Tomato, and I think that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb. That's a little more fair, in my opinion. There was a musical workshop that happened in like 2006, and a subsequent CD that came out in 2007. I actually bought it off of Apple Music, and I was obsessed with it. And it was right before I left LA. I was just waiting for this to come around because I wanted to audition for it. And the kid that played, what's his name? He played Waldo in The Little Rascals. He ended up playing Brad, and I just thought that was such a strange casting choice. Ugh. So weird. There was reports at one point that there was going to be a remake with Ashley Tisdale attached to star. It never happened. And then I guess in 2013 or 2017, there was staged live versions of the musical at the Groundlings. I missed them. I lived in the area, never even heard that these were happenings. I would love for this to happen again. If there was ever a Teen Witch revival, I am literally almost 40, but I would do anything to be a part of it. I don't care what they wanted me to do. I would sweep the stages just to be involved. That's how much I love this movie. It's just there's something in here for everybody. Like the outfits are just for the books. You know, I was born in 86, so I didn't get like the full extent of like the decade of the 80s, but I got a little bit of it. And I remember pretty aggressively what my sister was wearing during that time period. I do remember the music, and I still listen to the music and this soundtrack especially. And I remember these actors, and I followed these actors because of this movie. And you guys, I still watch this movie a lot more than the next person. I probably put this movie on maybe once a month. I know it by heart. It's going to be really hard to watch this with you guys without quoting the entire thing. So I'm going to try to find a way to restrain myself and find things to talk about for an hour and 40 minutes that are not just quotes and that are not just me singing along. So yeah, I'm excited. You know what to do. We are going to press play together here in just a moment. I have the Blu-ray, which is how I'm going to watch it. I know that this movie is available everywhere. I think it's available on Tubi, so there will be ads if you choose to watch it on Tubi. I think it's available on Prime, so there are ways for you to watch it. But if you don't have a physical copy of this, who are you? You are not a true 80s child if you don't have a version of this that you can hold. I do need to say that I don't have the VHS copy of this that I adored so much. I lost it. It's one of those things that just got lost in a proverbial fire from back in the day. I had a lot of really cool things once. And in a transitional period of my life, a lot of those cool things just got shoved aside. So I really hope one day I can get a Teen Witch VHS back in my life. Maybe I'll look for that. Maybe I'll look for that today, because I would really like to just have that back. I love the cover of this movie. It's just so fucking 80s. It's so fucking 80s. All right, guys. So I am going to press play in about 10 seconds here. And then after we press play together, we can all come up with some cute little fun antics to get into together. Take a deep breath and let's open up our spell books. Wawa reverse. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press play now.